Welcome back to the Uncut podcast, episode 7.
I think so.
Yeah, that sounds right. We'll roll with episode 7.
Yeah.
We're doing Star Wars today, and me and Finton are very excited. Me and Finton, if you've watched literally any of our other videos, you know that we love Star Wars.
Oh yeah.
It's like our biggest nerd. Well, to be fair, I probably kind of am more into superheroes, but I love Star Wars with like a deep passion. And
Yeah, I don't think I could pick between the two. It would be like Star Wars and then like DC and Marvel.
Yeah.
I don't think I could. I don't think I could like put one above the other.
I mean, DC is definitely lower down on the list, but it's fine.
That's for another. That's another conversation.
That's a whole other discussion. But yeah, we're really excited for this one. We're gonna cover everything. So all the movies, even the shit ones, all the shows that we have at the moment, and the stuff coming up. And the games. So obviously there's not loads and loads of games at the moment, but we've got cool things in the works that we're going to discuss, and we've got cool things that have come out not too long ago that we're going to talk about. And then we'll just sort of go into the general future of Star Wars and where we think it's going and whether we like that direction or not. But let's start off with the movies. So just straight in, deep end. What are your top 3, bro? Top 3 Star Wars movies.
Okay, we're going straight in. All right.
Go straight into this.
I know 2 straight away. Force Awakens, Rogue One.
Force Awakens.
Yeah. But like, this is the thing with me. I think I've mentioned this a couple of times before, is I don't particularly mind how bad the film is. It's like the event surrounding it for me, like the memory I have of it. It's basically the reason I like Force Awakens. The reason I like it so much. It's not one of the best, clearly. But I was like, this is the first time. This is the first time, like me as what would I have been at the time? When did it come out? 2015. So I was like 13, maybe. Yeah, I would have been 13. It was the first time I got to go into a cinema and watch a Star Wars film. Like every time before that, it was watch it on a DVD in my house. But this was the first time I was like, I don't know what I'm going into. I'm going to watch a Star Wars film. And you know what? It was pretty good. I can't lie. The rest of the trilogy.
Good. That first one.
But
that first one, man, they trapped us in there. But yeah,
they genuinely did. Rogue One is just.
That's top 2.
I think I would say Empire Strikes Back is 3rd as well, which is what I know what everybody says, but I'm like, it is just a brilliant movie.
What, episode 5? You think is one of the best?
It would be that or Return of the
Empire
Jedi. Like I would probably change on the day depending on when you ask me, but I'd say probably
for me personally, it's Rogue One is up there, definitely in the top 3. I just think that's a really cool, like, little side story that just really elevates the whole Star Wars universe. I'd actually say A New Hope, just because of the novelty of, like, it's the first Star Wars movie. We meet all these like characters that we like fell in love with, like Luke, Han, Leia, Chewbacca, you know what I'm saying? Like, it was just so cool. And Obi-Wan, you know what I'm saying? Like, that introduced us to Obi-Wan Kenobi, who's like one of the most elite characters in my opinion. So yeah, A New Hope. And then I'd probably have to say Return of the Jedi is like number 3. But we'll get more into how we feel about the other movies too. But that is my
I just want to ask one question, right? Just because it was something that I really wish I didn't know, but I did know going in because they'd been out for so long. You know, when you watched episode 5, also this will be spoilers, but like Star Wars has been out for 30 years at this point. If you haven't watched it, then why are you watching the episode? That's all I'm gonna say. But did you know going into episode 5 that Vader was Luke's dad? Because I knew that watching it, and I really wish I didn't, because I was like, that would have been such a bigger deal to me. Like, imagine being a person in the cinema that's gone to watch that and finding it out in the cinema. Like, that would have been incredible. I
can't actually remember, man, because I watched them when I was very young. Like, I must have been like 5, 6 when I watched them. And I remember the main thing I remember about watching them as a kid was saying to my grand, because I think at this point the prequels were out too when I was getting into Star Wars, and I remember saying to my granddad, like, Granddad, why is episode 4, 5, and 6 really, really old, and then episode 1, 2, and 3 looks really new? And him trying to explain to me that the films came out after, but they were set before, and that just blew my mind as a child. I didn't understand that. So I don't even think I really understood the concept of like Vader being Luke's dad as like a big crazy thing like when I was a child.
Yeah.
But then as I got older, I was like, wow, that's such a twist. Like, who saw that coming?
Yeah,
I mean,
that's the
even
thing.
George
I was like,
Lucas didn't see
it's
that
a
coming.
massive deal. Yeah, like it's a massive deal when you get to our age and you realize it. But at that point, I was like, I watched it and I knew. So I was like, I knew it was happening, and I was just like, all right. But like, if I was a little bit older, it would have been like.
I think because it's like, I think I must have been aware of it because it's across like all media. Do you know what I'm saying? Like everything takes the piss out of Star Wars. You know, everyone's like, I am your father, and makes that into a joke and whatever. But when I was a child, I didn't really think about that. When I was a child, I was just like, I want a lightsaber.
Yeah, every child,
like,
right?
That's all I cared about. I was like, I want to be that guy with a green one. That's cool. I like that. But then I always kind of thought like, wait a minute, why doesn't he just force choke Vader? You know, like, but obviously, you know, simple solutions are not the Jedi way, but it is what it is.
Yep.
But
that would be too easy. The story would have been too easy.
Yeah, exactly, man. It'd be over in episode like 2. You know what I'm saying? But let's talk about just each trilogy. Let's just break down each trilogy and why we like it and why we dislike it. Not gonna lie, the most recent trilogy is the one that we're going to be the most negative on. I'm guessing.
Well,
we'll try.
I know where there's a line to stop hating on it, but we've recorded this episode before because if you've seen on our Instagram, we had an issue where we tried to record this, man. And so it would have been out last week, but it kind of broke. But and in that episode, Gio basically spent. But the episode's like an hour and 15, I'd say. Gio spent at least 30 minutes of that destroying Rise of Skywalker.
Cussing out.
It was
it is so bad.
Right. Anyway, let's not do that again.
Should we go from the first like episode 1, 2, 3, and then
let's go numeric. Let's go numerical. Yeah.
Cool. We'll go in chronological order then. We'll go from the prequels. I actually really enjoy the prequels personally. But I do understand why people don't. Like, I get that, especially episode 1 is very much like too much politics and stuff for people. But I didn't hate that. I don't know. People really hate that. I don't know how you feel about it.
I think my biggest issue just with that, I don't know if it would be just that first episode or whether it would be the entire trilogy. But I think because it was like the early 2000s, end of the 90s kind of thing, every movie at that time was relying so heavily on CGI. So I don't particularly mind the movie itself. It's just you can tell it's old because they've relied so much on CGI that CGI is now outdated.
Some of the stuff is like unnecessary CGI. That's the real problem. For example, certain things like the Gungan Palace under the water. I actually think that looks great. I think that holds up to this day. Like, that looks so cool. But and even the big fat king guy, I can't remember what his name is, but even he like animates pretty well. I thought the CGI on him was pretty good. Jar Jar Binks, who I despise.
Jar Jar looks horrendous.
He looks bad.
My biggest issue because he looked like this. I'm one of those people that I'm like, Jar Jar's Jar Jar. He was in it for a reason. Like, I don't particularly mind him at all. But
he was in it for kids.
Yeah, exactly. He was in it to get the kids into it. He's like what's his name? Babu Frick in episode 9 or the Porgs in episode 8. Like, they're there to get
Babu Frick is the best part of the new trilogy.
Babu Frick is incredible. But
Babu!
Yeah.
I fucking love Babu Frick.
Oh god.
We've lost Vincent. He's gone.
We've lost me now. No, but like my biggest issue is he's in the episode so much, but his CGI has dated so badly. That's my biggest.
He's like, if you remove Jar Jar Binks, nothing changes. Like,
yeah, exactly.
The movie's basically the same. Like, maybe a few things are different, but nothing major. Like, yeah, he's just in there as like comic relief. But Star Wars doesn't need comic relief. It just needs like fun, you know. But
yeah,
I think they get a lot of hate. The prequels do, but I really enjoyed them. I think episode 1.
I think that's unwarranted.
I think the order of like goodness in them is episode 3, episode 1, episode 2.
Yep, absolutely agree.
Personally, just because Attack of the Clones is like very meh. Like, it's got cool ideas in there. Like, for example, that Genosian like when they go to the Genoshan arena and they're all meant to be sacrificed, and then all the Jedi come. That is so cool. That is awesome. And then I love Camino. I think Camino is one of the coolest Star Wars settings ever. The place where the clones are made, if you don't know where that is.
That's it. My brain was like, wait, where's that? But yeah, bro, now I remember.
I want to explore Camino more in like shows, movies, anything, because I think it's so cool. And that whole sequence of like Obi-Wan arriving there and exploring around, and he's like, what the fuck is going on, and they're on about Cypher Dyas, and no one knows who Cypher Dyas is unless you watch the Clone Wars series, which is really dumb, but it's worth watching the Clone Wars series for that.
My thing is, right, is one of the things I love about that trilogy, especially episode 1, is you don't get that whole, right, we're going to walk you through, here's every character, here's what they do, like they did in the original. It is straight in to Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon being just in that ship, and they're like, right, we're gonna do, and then it just starts. Yeah. But then my biggest issue with that is I love stuff that does that, by the way. Anything that just throws me straight into the world and is like, right, you're gonna learn whilst you're playing or whilst you're watching. We're not gonna spend the time teaching you before we get to the dramatic bit. But the thing that I think annoyed me the most, especially Attack of the Clones, is the issue with this, is that they rely on that too much. And especially in episode 2, they go to the point where nobody knows what's going on because they don't know the characters. Like you said, they only know them if they've watched Clone Wars, and Clone Wars wasn't even out at that point. So there's literally no way people would have known.
There's too many plot holes. Not necessarily plot holes, but just like unanswered threads in the what they call prequels. Like, for example, Darth Maul is killed off, but we know,
criminally
spoilers
underused.
For things like Clone Wars. He's criminally underused. He's such a cool character. But like, if you watch Clone Wars, he doesn't die. He comes back, which is really awesome.
Oh,
also,
yes,
I know we said it already,
that falls in half can still be alive. He is literally chopped in half, but somehow he lives.
The Emperor fell into the Death Star, being electrocuted by his own electricity, and exploded.
We're voiding episode 9, all right? He doesn't come back. He's just dead.
He does. It's canon. He's
just dead.
We will get into that. We will. But we will talk about it. But yeah, like, there's a lot that goes on. Like, for example, the Cypher Dyas mystery is so cool, and you only get a payoff to that if you watch Clone Wars. So yeah, I think Attack of the Clones had loads of cool ideas and moments, but just didn't really land any of them, Yeah, that's my opinion.
Episode 3.
You got any thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I've said all there is on episode 2. Like, it's not
episode 3.
It's not. Yeah, let's just move on, because I'm like, we've said everything on episode 2. Episode 3 is just beautiful.
So good.
Episode 3 is just beautiful.
Good. I rewatched it the other night. I put it on, and my dad was watching it with me, and I was just like, "What the fuck? Like, this is such a cool episode. Like, oh my god! Like, the starting where it's the attack on Coruscant, and that is such a cool opening scene." And
I have an issue with how you've just said Coruscant.
Why?
Because you've just gone Coruscant.
Coruscant.
I have issues with
Sorry,
this.
I meant Coruscant.
Coruscant. I have issues with this.
Listen, as Italians, man, we've got trouble with stupid English pronunciation. It's your fault, not mine. Tell your country to sort their spellings out. But anyway,
I'm sorry. I'll have a word with my country.
Thank you. Tell Shakespeare, man. But
all right.
Coruscant.
Go dig him up.
See, Coruscant sounds too much like croissant to me. Like, you know how people say like croissant, you know what I'm saying? Like, it just sounds too much.
No, that's wrong. That's wrong. It's croissant. Anyone that doesn't say croissant needs help.
Croissant. Baguette. What the fuck is this becoming? But anyway, man, that opening sequence with Coruscant.
There we go.
So
Thank
good.
You. Much appreciated.
It's all right. And also, it has one of the most iconic lines ever. Like, that is one of the best moments from Star Wars ever.
Episode 3 is just that meme. There are so many memes. Like, I have the high ground.
Right. Can we just talk about that briefly? Right. I don't understand why that's a meme. Why is that funny? I have the high ground. It's well known.
Funny.
Bro, it is a well-known thing that in battle, if you have the high ground, you have the advantage. And people just ripped it to shreds. And I was like, no, it makes sense. Like, he has the high ground. Like,
it's
I
just
get
all
the
of the
Jedi.
stuff that Kenobi does. And it's just everything Kenobi is a meme. Like, hello there.
I just love Ewan
Everything's
McGregor,
just
man.
a meme. It's you. Yeah,
I
exactly.
think
Ewan McGregor is just so perfect.
he's a
It's
perfect
just
Obi-Wan.
hilarious.
And I do wish that, like, a major point where the prequel trilogy stumbles is Count Dooku and just villains in general. So like Darth Maul killed off way too early. He's got like 2 lines in the whole film, you know, like it's not very good.
Yeah.
And he is like probably, in my opinion, after Darth Vader, the most visually striking Sith. He might even be more visually striking than Vader for some because he's so different. Like he doesn't wear a mask. He doesn't go with any of that nonsense. He's just straight up like red and black alien.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Yeah.
I think he's so cool. But yeah, so they kill him off way too early. Then Dooku is like in episode 2 for about 10 minutes. Like, and he cuts Anakin's hand off, which is like, okay, fine. And he uses a little force lightning, which is cool. And then in episode 3, they're like, let's just kill him. Let's just cut his head off.
I think the biggest issue is they were trying to juggle trying to make Anakin the villain with trying to have a normal villain. I feel like they shouldn't have. There shouldn't have been normal villains in that trilogy. It should have just been Anakin versus the Jedi.
I would agree, but I've watched Clone Wars, the show, and Dooku is a really
Clone Wars
cool
retroactively makes the prequels better. It genuinely does.
So much better. If you have Disney Plus, just take time and watch the Clone Wars show, and then after that, watch Rebels because it's worth it. It's 100% worth it. It makes I think it elevates all the Star Wars movies personally. Like apart from 8 and 9, because 8 and 9 are just bad. They're just bad. Don't even bother.
We're still just gonna roast them, aren't we? Even though we were like, no, we'll chill out this time. No, we're still just gonna roast them.
No, I'm still gonna rip them to shreds, mate. Like we're just waiting on it.
We're building up to that.
So, yeah, exactly. We need to go with the positives first. But that that prequel trilogy for me gets a lot of hate, and I actually enjoy it. I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I think the hate isn't warranted.
Yeah, it's definitely got bits of it that are like, fuck. Like for example, just guns in general is like why. The CGI now is a bit dated. I mean, it didn't look great at the time, but especially now, it's not amazing.
To be fair, when I sit there and say that Back to the Future is my favorite movie of all time, and you see the CG in that, I don't think I can really complain about the prequel trilogy. The CG in Back to the Future is, oh god.
Oh my god, it's bad. To be fair, like a lot of effects from back in those times weren't great. So you know, like it's fine. I don't mind the CGI. I don't hate the CGI because
neither do I.
It's kind of charming because it's like, oh, it's from early 2000s, but it's noticeable. You're like, oh, okay, Jar Jar Binks is not real. Thank God.
Yeah,
but
that's where I really liked. This is going off on a tangent in a very different way. But me and you both like Harry Potter, so this is where I think Harry Potter did it very well. Is the fact that Harry Potter made the faces rather than CG'd them, like they made the characters so that they never look dated, which is why I think Harry Potter still stands up so well. They
kind of did that in episode 7, 8, and 9, but again, we will get to that later on.
Yeah, but I think they learned from Harry Potter to do that rather than if they'd have done that in the prequels, it would have been a lot better. Just
briefly, one other thing that I just found out the other day that probably everybody knows, but I just thought was mad, is the guy that plays Count Dooku is Saruman in Lord of the Rings, and I just never put those two together, and I was like, what? And I'm pretty sure it's the same guy. And I was
How did you not know that?
Bro, I don't know. I just never knew. I never thought about it. And then I was like, oh my God, the voice is exactly the same. I know this. Yeah. So that.
Oh God.
Yeah. Sorry, I just didn't know. But I was like, wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, that was a very well documented fact.
Oh, okay. I didn't know about that, but I found out the other day, and I just thought that was really cool. But
just gotta check. Before.
You do know that Ian McKellen is Gandalf and Magneto, right?
Yeah, I know that.
Okay, good. Just making sure.
although, what's young Magneto? Is that Michael Fassbender?
Michael Fassbender, yeah.
He's so good. He's so good. I'd like to see him as a Star Wars villain,
That's true. I would just like to see
as
any
like a
major actor.
Sith Lord. Yeah, I'd like to see him. I think he could, if we ever get a Darth Plagueis movie or show or anything, he could definitely play Darth Plagueis, a young Darth Plagueis.
Yeah,
Like
I can see that.
discovering how to, keep people from dying, doing crazy sick Sith experiments. That'd be really cool. But we'll touch more on that later, on like the future and what we want from Star Wars. But let's move into the holy trinity of Star Wars
Yeah.
movies.
I don't think I can say one bad thing about this trilogy. It's the most beautiful thing. It's just perfect. It's just
Wow,
whenever
okay.
you're so the way I view how good films are, right, is when you're ill and you're just like,
Yes.
right, I want to watch a film. For me, it's you go 4, 5, or 6, or you watch Back to the Future. That's it.
Really?
Yeah, like
Nah.
there are some movies that I think are absolutely
Okay.
incredible, like Joker. But I'm like, Joker is not something you would want to watch when you're ill to make you feel better. But
It'll make
watch
you
something
feel
like,
worse.
yeah, to be fair, Joker is one of the greatest movies of all time. But I will more than happily make that statement. But yeah, it's just I honestly, the only thing that creeps me out is that Luke kisses Leia. That's the only thing that I'm like, that did not age well. That got dodgy very quickly.
that is one thing that I did want to say is like I agree, like the original trilogy is pretty untouchable, but we're trying to be fair here. Like, as much as I'm taking the piss out of the latest movies, I am gonna say some nice things about them. The original trilogy is so of the time, let's say. Like the dialogue is very much like, not all of it, but pick up some power converters, like things like that.
Yeah, I get what you mean.
Like they're really like
It's that cheesy period where they decide to just be cheesy.
yeah,
To be fair though,
cheesy,
it works.
that's the
It
word.
does make it makes it a
Gives it
serious sci-fi film, but it also gives it comedy as well, which gives you a reason, like you will laugh at the jokes.
Definitely. Yeah, definitely. You will laugh at it, and there are moments where you're going to be like genuinely stressed. You're like, when they're in the trash compactor, you're going to be like, oh my god. And even though the logical part of you is like, I know they're going to survive because there's like another 45 minutes of the film left.
But I don't
it's
know
still like
because I haven't watched it.
It's still a tense bit, and you're like, like which is
Yeah.
cool. People like that aren't watching the video are going to be like, what are these noises that he's making? To be fair, even people that are watching the video are like, what the fuck? But
are going to be concerned. Yeah, I can't lie.
I digress. But also the criticism of effects. The effects in the original trilogy do not hold up.
Yeah, but this is where I'm like, the movies came out in like, oh god, this is where I'm going to get murdered now. Is
like
it 70s or 80s? 70s or 80s,
yeah.
it's one of the two. Because Back to the Future came out after that. That's my reference of how old they are. Back to the Future is 1985, and then they came out before that. So sometime before 1985. But they're just, I go on about Back to the Future way too much, just side note.
He loves it.
I really do. But yeah, I think the fact that you can't blame the trilogy, because what they were doing at the time was revolutionary. Like, as much as it's horrendous looking back. Yeah, but I know you, but it does look dated, but at the time it was phenomenal.
Of course. I'm not saying they're bad. I'm just saying, like, if we're gonna comment on the effects of movies that came after, I've also just got to say, like, if you're going into these thinking that the VFX are incredible, blah, 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 they're not. They're just of the era, like same with the prequel trilogy. It's just that in the prequel trilogy, there's an over reliance on CGI, and that's why people really destroy it for that.
Yeah.
Whereas in the original saga, there isn't CGI. Well, unless you watch the retouched versions.
Yeah, this is what I was going to say. Is if you say, I'm going to assume many people have. I don't know why I keep looking over here. My chair's just directed this way, so I'm just looking at. But say you've never watched Star Wars before, which I mean, it's highly unlikely. Don't watch it on Disney Plus. Just don't.
No, that's not true.
I have such a big problem with it because of the fact it's 4K Ultra HD. The fact that it makes the fact that it is from the 1970s so much more obvious. Which is what I hate. I'm like, find a way to
but-
watch the original and watch the original. Don't watch the remade ones, because the remade ones they get on my nerves a bit, because they're like, oh
They're
yeah,
not bad though. They're not bad.
Oh,
They're
no.
just additional
No, they're definitely
bits
not.
of CGI. It's literally the same movie but with extra scenes in. So it's not ruining it for you. It's just a bit like,
oh no,
why does,
not the scenes.
why
The
is
scenes that
Jabba
are not what I
in
have an
episode
issue
1?
with. My issue is that they, like, when you look at the lightsabers, like, they make the lightsabers look like they were in Fallen Order, like, came out last year. But when you watch the original, the colors for them are so different.
I completely disagree. It doesn't. I rewatched the original trilogy not long ago on Disney Plus, and I remember thinking, even though I'm watching it in 4K, whatever HDR, it still looks. I can still tell that it's the original Star Wars movie. It's like,
oh yeah, definitely. But I'm just like, my biggest issue with stuff like that is, if you're gonna, I'm one of those weird people that's like, I want to watch the film in its original form. Like, sure, I'll buy the 4K version of it just to see what the difference is, or watch it on Disney Plus to see what the difference is. But I'm like, I would prefer to watch it how it was filmed, rather than it's been upscaled to make it look better for today's. I'm like, I would prefer to watch the original.
If you've not watched the original trilogy, try and watch it in its original form on
you
VHS,
said you had it on.
Yeah,
I was gonna say, you said you had it on VHS. I was like, that's how I would I would buy a VHS player to watch Star Wars on VHS, because that would just be.
I don't have it anymore.
The nostalgia.
If you can find a VHS player, fair play. If you can't, then it is what it is.
Wait, so
it was never
not have it on VHS?
No. They were my granddad's copies. Like, they're all here. I don't know if he even still has them. Yeah. I know. I'm sorry.
I'm going to Google right now how much a VHS copy of A New Hope is. I'm genuinely curious.
God's sake. But yeah, the original trilogy is pretty much perfect. The only thing is that, like, from episode 2 and 3, it's obvious that they had more of a plan. What? Is it really expensive?
To get the original trilogy on VHS, this is on eBay as well, because there's no way that's going to physically have them new. $1,200 for the original trilogy on VHS.
Just watch it on YouTube. Just watch, not YouTube. What am I talking about? Disney Plus. Just watch it on Disney Plus. Don't watch it on YouTube.
I was not expecting that. Oh my god.
Finton would buy that as well. Finton actually would buy that if he had the money to, which he does. So if he's broken the next couple weeks,
I don't have enough for that. Give it a couple of weeks, I might, but I don't at the minute.
I could,
because I bought my new phone.
Oh,
I already have the Lego Death Star here. I'm like, I don't need
12 Pro Max. But yeah. With the original trilogy, I just love it. I just love the original trilogy, man. I think there are bits like you say, like Luke kissing Leia, that is a bit like
dodgy.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Again, like you said, it's on its time though. Like, that stuff would have been all right when it came out.
I don't think incest has ever really been okay, Finton.
No, but you know what I mean? As in, people wouldn't like. No, I didn't mean it like that. Oh, for God's
been
sake,
cool when it came out.
No, but as in, people wouldn't have minded it as much as they would now, because, like, people have the internet and they're always going to voice their opinions. Whereas it would have just been like, it would have been a 2-minute conversation once you came out of the movie, and then it would have been done.
The thing is all I can say is, at least it isn't like a sloppy tongue kiss. At least it's just like a peck, like it's not. Yeah. It's still weird, don't get me wrong, but it's not as bad as it could have been. But let's leave that in the dirt where it belongs, in the dark depths of the Star Wars history.
Oh, I've now found one for £3.
Yeah, but I bet it don't work. I bet it's all smashed.
There's one on Amazon for £3. I'm like, can I get it just to see if it works?
It comes with just the tape and the film is separate, you know what I'm saying? But
all the tape's just been pulled out of it. It's just like, here, have the plastic case.
Pulled out of it with like stuff scratched into it and that, but yeah, God forbid. But I think we've said what
this
we
got so off tangent anyway.
we love the original trilogy, like it's untouchable.
And now we begin the roast of the new trilogy.
Can I lead quickly?
Oh, I'll leave. I'll go get a drink. By the time you still won't be done by the time I get back.
The Force Awakens is not a bad movie. That's how I'm going to start this off. The Force Awakens is fine. It's enjoyable. It was a return to Star Wars, it copies A New Hope.
It was a New
basically
Hope
beat for
remastered,
beat.
basically.
Yeah, it was a remake. But that was okay because it had been so long and it was fine.
It was for
Then
a
we
new
got the
audience
last-
anyway. That's why I had no issue with it being the same.
Exactly. Then we got The Last Jedi, which destroyed the character of Luke Skywalker. It made him into a piece
And
of
Finn.
shit.
I just want to say he destroyed Finn.
And Finn. It didn't destroy Finn. Mate, Finn had nothing from the beginning. They just
I loved
completely
Finn.
put
I loved
him to the side.
No, I'm sorry. Finn was the character that had the most potential after The Force Awakens. Finn was the
No,
one who
I
was looking to
agree.
be the Jedi. He was the one that was looking to beat Kylo, and then they abuse him. It's just it makes me just because he's got my name, it hurt as well. I was like, you can't disrespect me like this.
That too, and we know that there was stuff behind the scenes there because John Boyega's actually come out and said like he's never working with Disney again.
Was it Disney
I don't know
or
if he's-
Lucasfilm? He said.
I'm not sure.
I feel like saying
but
you wouldn't
one of
work
the
with
two-
Disney as a whole. I feel like that's a bit of a step. I'd say I don't know, to be honest. I don't remember. Let me see if I can.
Isn't
find it
Lucasfilm
quickly.
owned by Disney though? It doesn't really matter.
Yeah,
at this point.
but as in like there's a lot of other stuff that you could do with Disney that isn't Star Wars.
Yeah,
Which is why I was like that would seem weird to sit there and say I'm never going to do it.
I guess so. But yeah, he obviously felt very, very strongly about that, and I understand where he's coming from because that was one of my biggest gripes was like they set him up for so much in The Force Awakens. They made out like he was going to be like Force sensitive and like just really cool, and then they just put him to the side, and they kind of hinted that he was Force sensitive in the last movie, which I will get to because that really pissed me off. But yeah, they hinted and just never actually took it anywhere and just wasted everyone's time with it. But it's okay. Finton, you still there, mate?
Yeah, sorry, I'm reading what it was. So he says he won't do it. He's basically said he won't do a he's basically said he won't do a another Star Wars thing.
That's a shame. That is a big shame.
He got angry at the fact that they marketed him as like a massive character and then pushed him to the side, and they basically his conclusion to that is they've done it so they could increase, like they could say they're a diverse company and then just push the character to the side. Which I mean is perfectly valid because that's exactly what happened. That's
exactly what happened, and you don't have to be like an industry insider. It is very visible in the movies. Like you can tell that is what happened. Ooh, grazie.
Oh, what got delivered?
My regular podcast coffee that I have to have every episode.
Where's my on-demand coffee?
Doesn't happen to you.
I'm looking at my TV expecting that to bring me a drink.
Imagine, but I lifted that up and smelt it and didn't sip it. I'm not a weirdo. It's very hot. I have my coffee black with no sugar. I have it black, no sugar. So like it's really hot when I, start to drink it. But what were we saying, man?
Life begins after coffee.
Yeah, my girlfriend's family got me this. I love it. It's my favorite mug.
Very valid thing as well. I mean, for me, it's life begins after Pepsi, but
not at 10 in the morning, bro.
No, I can't drink coffee though. That's the reason that I drink Pepsi
so
much, because I would drink coffee.
Full disclosure, it's not 10 in the morning, it's 10 to 1 right now.
Yeah,
it's
10 to 1.
Let's pretend that it's 10 in the morning. But
to be fair, I don't have a Pepsi, which is just
not acceptable. It's
too
disgusting. Late now, but the whole point, uncut, you know what I'm saying? We won't cut away. But but what was we gonna say? But yeah, Finn's characterization was just bad not bad, but like the fact that they just left him was awful, and I will never forgive that especially because all through episode 9, it's not even hinted, like it's basically explicit that he is Force sensitive. Like he says to Rey that he has something to tell her, and then at the end of the movie, they're like, "Is Rey alive?" And he's like, "I can feel it." And it's like, if that's not a Jedi thing, then what
and this is the thing that weirded me out, right? You watch the film and you're like, yeah, he's definitely Force sensitive. And then they came out after it to say that was never what he was going to say. I'm like, it definitely was. Stop BSing. Like,
oh, what was he meant? What was it meant to
I
be
don't
then?
remember. I honestly do not remember what it was, but I remember because I looked this up because like you, I was like, no, he definitely was going to say it. And then like a few weeks later, they came out and was like, no, he won't. I'll go back to my regular Googling. I'll be back in a minute.
I'm sorry, I was just laughing because I don't remember. It just got me. I don't remember. But yeah, Google it for me because I'm interested now.
Yeah, I will do.
But yeah, man, they fucked Finn's character up badly. But yeah, they fucking destroyed Luke Skywalker as well, which is like sacrilege. I won't forgive them for destroying Luke like that. They made him. I understand, like, yeah, okay, fine. They wanted to make him not this untouchable, godly character. That's okay, but they didn't have to make him try kill a kid for that.
Whoa, sorry, I'm just gonna completely because I've just read it up. So he was gonna say he was force sensitive, which came out after Abrams had said that he wasn't gonna say that, because basically people thought he was gonna. Basically, what happened was people thought that Finn was gonna tell Rey that he loved her. Abrams came out and said that that wasn't the case, and then came out a few months later and went, "Oh yeah, he actually was going to tell her force sensitive."
But
what was the point?
Doesn't fancy Rey.
Apparently, Rey knew the entire time. Where was that in any of the films? She just.
Rey didn't even know that she was a Palpatine. She didn't. That's another thing that I need to touch on. Rey's a Palpatine. Like, why? Why did they do
she's
that?
Not.
Because the movie spends the entire time telling you that it's flipping Skywalker, even though she can't just accept the fact she's a Palpatine.
Well, this obviously touched a nerve because his whole camera fell down and everything. But
I pulled my mic and the camera, then the cable to the mic, then pulled the screen in my laptop.
Oh, okay. But yeah, the problem with Rise of Skywalker, in my opinion, is the worst Star Wars movie ever. Last Jedi is bad, but Rise of Skywalker is worse. And the reasons. Nah, I'm gonna say reason Rise of Skywalker is worse, right, is because Last Jedi had cool ideas they didn't deliver on. So I hate that Luke tries to kill a kid, right? I hate that. But if they had done it in a better way, I could have gone along with it, and I could have been like, yeah, Luke Skywalker, he is a flawed character. Of course he is. He's human. And that would have been fine. Instead, they did that. They made him die. I don't think he should have died, personally. I think that was stupid to kill off Luke Skywalker, especially in the way that he dies with like his fake lightsaber battle.
I wouldn't have minded.
That was trash.
But it was the way that they did it. Like, if they were going to do it and do like a proper thing. Can I just quickly cut in right now? I know this has nothing to do with it, but on the subject of Luke trying to kill Ben, I really, really hope that in season 3 of The Mandalorian, we find out more about that. I really hope, because there's no way they're just going to get rid of Grogu from the show. So we're clearly going to see Luke more. If then, like, yeah, I'll come back to this when the show comes out and realize how wrong I was. But if they, like, I really hope that they do, because that needs explaining, because that was probably the most messed up part of the entire trilogy. Like, that made no sense.
It came out of nowhere. Like, it was really weird, and it felt wrong. Like, it felt like they were perverting his character, and I just didn't. It made literally no sense. But yeah, so I hated that. And then one thing that I did really love though about Rise of Skywalker, and I know that it's just pure fan service, but it's when Rey goes to the island and like destroys her ship, and then Luke's Force Ghost is there and he raises the X-wing out of the water. I know that is so shit, but I just loved that moment. And I really love as well that I think it came out afterwards. I don't know if this is true or not, but people were like, "Oh, why is his Force Ghost so bright?" And it turns out that because of the islands that they're on, it's like a Jedi island, the Force is really strong there, and so he manifests as a stronger Force Ghost, and that's why he's able to like grab the lightsaber and lift the X-wing and stuff. And I just thought that was really cool, and that's also why in Episode 8, when Yoda appears, he appears as like basically a solid Yoda, and the lightning and stuff, like, because they're so Force sensitive on that island. But the lightning is bullshit.
You've just reminded me of something. One of the things that annoys me the most about that film,
I feel like I know where this is going. Go on.
The fact he burned the Jedi texts.
Oh, okay, no, we weren't going to the same place. But again, right?
Luke Skywalker. Like Luke Skywalker, the quintessential perfect Jedi, burns the basis of everything. Like, oh my, I have so many issues with what they made Luke out to be.
Stupid.
When you know Mark Hamill didn't even like the character, like the way they've done it, then you know that there was an issue.
He tried to warn us, man. He's put stuff on Twitter before, like, that was very vague, but now we know. And the thing is as well, is even Disney don't like the direction that they ended up going in, because if you're up to date on stuff, they're actually going backwards in time now to the High Republic, which is set like 100 years before episode 1, so way back in the past. Because where do they go from here? Like Rey, the whole point is like, I like the theme. I get that they're trying to say like it doesn't matter who you are, like name wise, it matters who you are as a person. But it doesn't deliver on that, because the whole point is like Rey's a Palpatine, right? We associate that as evil, demonic, whatever. But we know that isn't necessarily true, because Palpatine's her granddad, so her parents were good enough to try and hide her away from him. So we already know that it's possible to be Palpatine and good. But then they make this whole big deal about how Rey is her own person and she can choose and and it's like that kind of lands, and then the ending ruins it, because they go, "Oh, what's your name?" And she goes, "Rey Skywalker." And it was like, why? Why are you Rey Skywalker? Does she even deserve the Skywalker name? Not really. Like when I rewatched this sequel trilogy, I was sat there and I was like, there's something off about this whole thing. And I just realized, because I don't care about any of the characters. The only one, like,
this is literally what I was going to say, is you watch 4, 5, and 6, Luke, Han, Leia, Chewie, all iconic. Most kids still know who Chewbacca is, even though the films
do you know what I'm saying?
Exactly. Even though like 40 years old. In 40 years, ask a kid who Rey Skywalker is. No one's gonna know. And that's not Daisy Ridley's fault. That's not John Boyega's fault. They did the best of what they could. But Disney,
full disclosure, I like Daisy. Is it Daisy Ridley as Rey? Like
Ridley,
I don't. People were saying
the
that her
castings
character
were great.
was Mary Sue, which is basically like just an overpowered female. I never felt that like watching the movies, because it makes sense that she would, for example, people were like, "Oh, how does she know how to do Jedi jumps?" And it's like, bro, she spent her entire life as a scavenger, crawling around, destroyed Empire ships. So stuff like that, if you think about it, it does make sense. But like, for example, the bit that I disagree with in the movie is when she does the Force lightning. Like, Force lightning is meant to be like an elite, really overpowered ability, and she basically does it by accident.
But it's not even a Jedi one either. It's a Sith Force skill. Like, there is no Jedi that uses it.
The thing is, I think the whole point of that movie is like, first of all, retcon in episode 8, because everyone hated what they did. And then second of all, it's kind of like trying to move away from, the Jedi are this, the Jedi are that, you know? But yeah, sorry about that. We just froze a little bit. But what was I just saying? Yeah, the lightning power, like, I think the whole point of episode 9 is that they're trying to, first of all, retcon episode 8, which was needed, and then also try and be like, the Jedi Order that I think fans hold so dearly and like act like it's a sacred thing. They're trying to say it's not perfect. Like, they were wrong about things, and that's fine. And I respect that. But things like having Luke burn the Jedi texts, or having Rey become a Skywalker. Like,
the thing that annoys me, I'm coming back to this because it just bugs me so much, is I don't think I would have minded as much if it was just Luke that had burned the text. Like, they absolutely destroyed Luke's characterization in 8. So I was like, if he does that and it's just him, fair enough. My biggest issue with that is Yoda was there.
Why
was Yoda there?
It doesn't make sense.
It got on my nerves. I was just like, why get Yoda? Like, the two most, like, when you think of the Jedi, the two people you think of is Yoda. Probably the three people you think of: Yoda, Luke, Obi-Wan. They're the three people, and then two of them have just burnt the foundations of everything that they.
And again though, I'm okay with it to a degree, because I get what they're trying to say. Like, you don't have to be a Jedi to be a good Force user, right? That was almost like the sub message of the movie, is like, the Jedi are not necessarily always right. You can blend mixtures of the Force and still be a good person. That's fine. Yeah, absolutely. But what bugged me, right, is if the whole message of the movie is you can be you, and it doesn't matter who your past is or what you've done. You are your own person and you choose your own path. Beautiful message. That's lovely. They ruined it at the end of the movie, because instead of Rey just accepting like, I'm a Palpatine, but I'm gonna do different, and saying I'm Rey Palpatine, she goes, I'm Rey Skywalker, and it's like, no, you're not. First of all, no, you're not blood related to
Just no.
Skywalker.
Screw you.
Just no. Second is like, the whole point is that, think about it, man. Luke Skywalker didn't change his name. He didn't change his name when he found out that Darth Vader was his dad and used to be Anakin Skywalker. He didn't go, well, I don't want to be that now. I don't want to be a... Like, it's dumb as how it doesn't make any sense in the entire context of Star Wars. And she should have just stayed as Rey Palpatine. And then we could have had a really cool either TV show or like standalone movie, right, of her, which was separate from any Star Wars trilogies, of Rey traveling the galaxy as this new sort of form of Jedi, and people going, oh my God, you're a Palpatine, and having this bad perception of her, and just her going around the galaxy fixing shit. That would have been so cool. And they
you've just reminded me of.
Yeah, go for it.
So you know how we're talking about, oh yeah, she's a Palpatine. You know how that entire trilogy spends the time going, oh yeah, right. Who are Rey's parents? We don't know. We'll find out through the...
We still don't know.
I was literally just about to say, my brain's only just realised, yeah, we find out she's a Palpatine, but you still don't know who her mum or her dad are. You just know that Palpatine's her granddad. Like,
which to me would have been way more interesting to follow, because first of all, when does Palpatine ever have a child? How does Palpatine raise this child? Like, I want to know the dynamics there. And then also, like, because, you know, usually when evil people have a child, they either brainwash them into also being evil, or they're really horrible, nasty, abusive parents. I'd imagine Palpatine would flicker between the two.
Definitely.
But, like, you know, there's no mention of it in the original trilogy, which, fine. Like, there's no mention of a lot in the original trilogy, so we can forgive it. Yeah. But it just doesn't make any sense. I hate it, and I just wish we'd known like who her mum was, for example. Like, I don't know, is it ever confirmed which parent is the Palpatine?
No, it's literally just Palpatine's her granddad. That's it.
There you go.
I think the thing is, right, they should have gone one or two ways. Either they should never have tried to have retcon 8. Simple as. They should have either just steered into 8 and been like, sure, if you hate it, you hate it, but we're going with this story. I would have preferred that so much more. There are a lot of issues with 8, but 8 is definitely better than 9, and 9 is just so bad because they spend so much of it trying to retcon 8. They either do that and just go, right, we're going with this story, even though sure it's not what we thought we were going to be going with, but we had to switch directors, la-di-da-di-da. It had to change. Like that I would have been annoyed by it, but I would have respected it. I would have been like, okay, you're just dealing with what you have, fair enough, no problems there. Or they go, 8 isn't canon, and make 9 and maybe 10 with J.J. Abrams, so he gets to do his trilogy. No, I know, but as in, yeah, but look at what it made. Look at 9. Look at 9. Look what happened when they tried to keep it canon. Anything would have been better than 9.
It's just all a big old.
Do you know what I really want though? I do genuinely want a continue. Like, I know it won't happen because John Boyega said no, but I really, really wanted some kind of Finn Disney Plus show and a Rey Disney Plus show, because I feel like as much as yes, she's now a Palpatine, that's not the end of her story. Like, you watch Return of the Jedi, you could be like, sure, as much as I love Luke Skywalker, that if that's the end of it, I'd be happy with that. Whereas with Rey and Finn, you're like, I kind of want to see, I want to see justice done to the characters because the actors have done such a good job.
This is the last thing I want to touch upon on the, maybe not the last thing, but just one last
time on movies.
Yeah,
this was only meant to be one section and we've taken nearly an hour.
Yeah, we're going to move on, but just one thing that I do want to touch on is I felt like the characters, I know I've already said that I didn't really care for the characters, right? I liked Rey. You know, she was flawed. She was very powerful, but it was kind of cool. I liked Finn. I even kind of liked Poe, even though he was like basically fake Han Solo. I don't hate the characters. What I disliked was that I never felt like there was a real like solid connection between the characters. There was no real group dynamic. And I think what would actually be best is if, like you were saying, just give them solo shows, maybe like I'd love to see a Finn show where he goes off and he has the knowledge that he's a Jedi, but him and Rey aren't really that close, in my opinion. Like all these theories saying that, oh, Finn loves Rey. No, he doesn't. Like they don't ever have that sort of friendship, even, you know, like let alone a romance. But yeah, I'd love that if he.
Oh, I saw the
maybe
you've just reminded me of something.
Let me just finish and then you can say what would be really cool would be a Finn show that focuses on Finn uncovering his Force abilities and becoming this new generation of Jedi with Maz, the little yellow alien who people were convinced was going to be like the Yoda character, and actually make her important, give her Jedi powers. And so the main focus can be Finn, but the overarching narrative could actually be, how does Maz come into possession of the Anakin Skywalker lightsaber? How does that happen? And that could be like just really cool. I think that'd be awesome.
We're gonna have to end this podcast now so Gio can go and pitch that idea to Disney.
Disney, because damn, like I'm a genius. But I think
that genuinely sounds awesome. Really cool. Like I would absolutely watch that. Yeah, exactly. One of the things you've literally just reminded me of, because we haven't actually spoken about him, is Kylo. Like the whole fact that him and Rey kiss. I'm like, what? Why? Why is this a thing?
That was weird. Like I would have rather they just did like a forehead touch, maybe. Like, you know, they grab arms and
I had more of an issue with that. I had more of an issue with that than I had Luke kissing Leia.
I disagree, but okay. But
there was at least like Luke and Leia, as much as they were brother and Leia, right? Fair enough. At least they had some sort of chemistry. Rey and Kylo is just forced.
You're going into weird territory right now that we don't want to explore, man. Like, what the hell? I don't want to look at your search history. God forbid.
Wow, Jesus Christ.
Yeah. But,
anyway, moving on.
At the same time. But yeah, I actually think that Ben Solo is one of the best parts of the latest trilogy. I think he was quite interesting.
Again, I think every character is. They're just, the writing of what they wanted to do with the story is just crap.
Yeah, exactly. Like having him nearly be killed by Luke is just weird. Like he could have had a better motivation to become evil. And also, the Knights of Ren, why are they in the movie for like half an hour and they're showed to be this incredibly powerful brotherhood of knights that will wreck you and destroy your life, and then Kylo gets a lightsaber past him and he's like, you ain't shit. He just destroys him.
Like, goodbye.
Like, these are meant to be like elite warriors and Kylo just mows them down. Like he's just like, and it's not a problem for him. And I didn't like that. I thought that fight should be more of a challenge.
I've just looked at the time. We've been going on about the movies for a long time.
Have we? Okay, we'll move on. We'll move on then.
Well, I think we need to move on potentially, or we title this just a movie one. That's like two options. We either move on or just go with the movies.
We're gonna do the whole podcast. We're gonna do the whole. This is gonna be a long one because remember we didn't do one last week, so this one needs to be longer.
That's true. We can do a chunky one. All right.
Chunky one. But yeah, last thing I'll say about the original, the sequel trilogy is shit.
English,
Don't
bro.
Bother. Wow. Okay, but yeah, it's not that great. Especially the last two movies. The last two movies really ruin it.
Stop at 7.
Force Awakens pretty solid.
Stop at 7.
Yeah, basically.
Watch 7, then watch Rogue One, and then don't touch 8, 9, or Han Solo.
Yeah. Nah, Han Solo you can touch, but just touch it with 2 fingers instead of your whole hand. You know, it's not, you know, like. Just keep your distance. Just like instead social
distance from the film.
Instead of grabbing it, just 2 fingers pinch, right? 2 fingers. But let's move on to the shows. I actually think the shows.
For God's sakes, right? Anyone that's not seeing my perspective is Gio's video is currently conked out and is going at like 0.02 miles an hour. This is why I'm finding it so funny.
No way. It's your one, not mine, because I'm connected to my data. But cool. Yeah, what was I saying? Yeah, the Star Wars shows I think make everything so much better. Like the Clone Wars TV show is brilliant. We won't talk too much about that because Finton hasn't actually seen it. Same with Rebels.
Yeah, I'm a degenerate like that.
Yeah, he's trash.
I should have watched him. Wait.
What we will talk about though is Mandalorian. Excellent.
Oh, I love this
excellent bit of TV. Do you want to just give your thoughts on it, and then I'll give mine?
All right. So we are going to do a full episode on this because me and Gio have discussed this, and we genuinely do because we talk way too much about the Mandalorian for it to be good. But season 1 is probably not. I'd say it's a solid 7 out of 10. Like, it's still trying to find its footing. It's all right. Not much is happening. It's just kind of getting where it's going. And then season 2. Oh my God. Season 2 is fan service. Sure. There is a lot of fan service in season 2. But it is just so well done. Like, everything is just so well done.
It's
and
not
the ending, like, yeah, I'm not going to spoil what happens at the end because the ending is.
No, we are.
Are we? I mean, it's only happened a few weeks ago. Are we going into this? All right.
Spoiler territory, man. It's got.
All right, fine. Luke Skywalker returning was one of the best things after episode 8. There we go.
That was
you see the proper Luke instead of 8 being destroying him. You see the proper version.
People like had a massive thing online about the de-aging tech. They do. Oh my God, I don't want to see de-age Luke. I thought it looked fine. It served the purpose.
I didn't think it looked great, but he was only in it for 5 minutes. So I was like, that's not
thing
ideal
is,
for me. Seeing him
while Mark Hamill is still alive, use this amazing man because he actually loves Star Wars. Like you can tell he's passionate and like
he lives and breathes it.
Exactly, and it would be such a waste to like not use him. Like, why would you not use him as Luke Skywalker? It's his character, man. Like,
yeah, but you can't have an old
fine.
In unless they de-age him as the actor, but then even then he's a different build to what he was when he originally filmed as Luke, so it's really difficult.
Yeah, exactly.
Because the thing is, like, you look at Han, well, Harrison Ford, as much as he's a little bit older, right? Like you see in Force Awakens, he's still basically the same build as he was in 4, 5, and 6. Whereas, like, yeah, he definitely gets older, but like Luke. Mark just like with life and stuff, he's got a bit bigger. Let's be honest. So it's a bit more difficult to try and de-age him when his build isn't the same. You know, like if he was the same build, then I would get it totally. But there are lookalike actors that I would be like, I think what they should do is get a lookalike actor to be him, but get Mark Hamill to VO it.
So CG as well, maybe. Bit of CG on him.
But just as long as Mark Hamill is still the person doing the speaking, then I'll.
Man. Like, people are saying they want Sebastian Stan to be the new Luke Skywalker, and if you don't know who that is, I didn't either. It's Bucky from the Winter Soldier.
So you didn't know about Saruman and you didn't know about.
Yeah,
I'm questioning your nerdism right now. I'm questioning whether I can call you a nerd.
Sorry. Anyway, everyone wants Sebastian Stan to be Luke Skywalker. I don't see it. Yeah, I honestly don't see it at all. But fandom can do what the fandom wants to do. I just personally disagree. I think leave, like, when Mark Hamill eventually one day, hopefully in like 2,000 years when I'm dead, passes away, lay Luke Skywalker to rest forever. Stop using the character. Only use him as a reference. Like, somebody says the Skywalker name. Like, at that point, just stop.
Honestly, right? When The Force Awakens came out, right, I was like, I had the most depressing fact in my life. I was like, I'm gonna be alive. Well, unless barring like I get hit by a car or something, I'm gonna be alive when Mark Hamill dies, and I'm like, that is gonna be probably the most depressing day. God's sake, man!
You can do it. I believe in you. But yeah, that is sad. Like,
I honestly. Like, that was just like the character that played the original Boba Fett died a couple of weeks ago, and I was like, oh, man, it's just
what?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know about that.
The guy that played the guy that was in the suit for Vader, the guy that was the original Chewbacca, Carrie Fisher, and the guy that played Boba Fett, they're all gone. I'm like,
fuck, man.
If I have to live to see Harrison Ford or Mark Hamill die. I'm gonna.
We still have Tamora Morrison to carry on the Boba Fett legacy, which couldn't have been given to anybody better.
Boba Fett.
And I'm so glad.
Incredible.
For me, it's Boba.
Mando.
I prefer Boba Fett, but whatever. But I'm
Boba.
so glad
Okay.
we're getting a Boba Fett.
Boba Fett.
Boba Fett. Fine, we'll call him Boba. I'm so glad we're getting a Boba Fett show. I think it's really weird how everyone like in the fandom really latched onto Boba, because he's in the movie for like 15 minutes, like if that, and he dies in such a shit way. He like gets
this
pushed
is
into the Sarlacc pit.
Going back to what we said a while ago. You know how Darth Maul is criminally underused. Sure, they underused Boba in episode 6, but then they brought him back in Mando, and then you see how good of a character he genuinely is, which is one like I want a live action Darth Maul. That's what I need in my life.
A live action Darth Maul. The thing is, Finton,
I think there could be an Ahsoka.
When
the Ahsoka
major
show comes
spoilers.
out, I'm like Darth Maul could be in it.
I'm really sorry to everyone that doesn't know about this. Finton, this is going to hurt you too, because these are major spoilers, but I'm sorry, I have to discuss them.
All right.
Darth Maul is dead in canon. He's gone. He dies. Obi-Wan kills him.
Is this in Clone Wars?
No, it's in Rebels. The way he dies is beautiful, though.
What? He dies in Rebels?
Yeah, man. Yeah. The way he dies is really, really well done.
He doesn't even die in the good one. He dies in Rebels.
Huh? Rebels is great. Rebels is really, really good. It's not as good as Clone Wars, but it's still really, really good. Nah, trust me, it's the death scene that they give him is amazing. But I think a live action Darth Maul
we all thought Palpatine was dead, so
no, it's pretty definitive, bro. He gets cut like in the chest with a lightsaber. He did.
He got split in two in the first film. He still was alive.
Yeah, but that was only his legs, you know? No, I'm joking, but yeah, Darth Maul's dead, man. But we could have like I mean, when I say this, by the way, he won't be in the Ahsoka movie in voice break in the live action, but maybe one day he will get his own live action show that's set somewhere else in the timeline. But I doubt it.
I just want him back. I don't know why. I'm just like seeing how well they've done Boba Fett in a TV show. I'm like seeing Darth Maul in a live action TV show. It would be. I honestly just want every character that got underused in the films to have their own TV show, because I feel like Disney have got how to do it now with the TV show, with how the TV shows are working. I feel like after season 1 of The Mandalorian, where they were like, right, let's think about this. Then they went into season 2 and were like, right, we've got it. I feel like from now on, anything that's going to be a Star Wars show is going to be incredible.
I hope so. I just want to say, like, season 1 of Mando is really good, like, but season 2 is like honestly perfect. Like, and I don't say that lightly. Like, I'm really, really, really critical of everything. So for me to say that season 2 of Mando is basically perfect, like it's like 98% perfect in my opinion. Nothing is ever completely perfect, but this is the closest I've ever seen it. Like the slow sort of dismantling of Mando himself as he starts to realize like the Mandalorian creed isn't as important as he says it is. He forms a real connection with Grogu. I hate the name. That's part of the 2% that isn't perfect. Grogu's a shit name. but yeah, like that.
To be fair, right, one of the funniest things just this is a random tangent because I'm an idiot who spends way too much time reading stuff, and I found out one of the funniest things. You know the voice that Pedro Pascal uses for the Mandalorian. It's the voice he uses in the bedroom.
That's brilliant. That is brilliant.
That cracked me up when I read it. I was like, that's just incredible.
If you've watched The Mandalorian and you are attracted to Pedro Pascal, please let us know if you would find that seductive. Just drop that in the comments and let us know. I mean, I don't personally swing that way, but it's a pretty attractive voice, you know, if I have to be honest.
Yeah, I just found that so funny reading it. I was like, A, the fact he just comes out and says that, and B, the fact he's done it in like the biggest show of 2020. He's just gone, yeah, I'm just gonna use the voice I use in the bedroom. Like, oh, it's just good.
It works. It definitely works.
Genuinely
But
does.
but yeah, the whole show is just so cool. I think the one episode that I really like, that again brings it down that little 2% for me, is the spiders episode. Not because I mean I do hate spiders, and anything with spiders in I'm like cringe, but I just felt like that episode was very drawn out a little bit. You know, it felt a bit long. But every other episode in that season, fantastic, magnifique. I love it. Perfetto.
Yeah, the spiders just creep me out, but other than that,
I want more.
like, I'm genuinely so looking forward to season 3 though. Like
Season three?
Bo-Katan versus Mando for the Darksaber. That's going to be incredible.
Oh, see that. If you'd watched Rebels, that would have annoyed you. It got on my nerves personally because Bo-Katan is not like, in this show they've made her out to be, again, this brings it down that 2% for me. In this show they've made out that she's like some war-loving woman, but she's not really like that. Like, she's in Clone Wars and Rebels, and in both of them, like, yeah, she's a warrior, but she likes peace, man. Like, and in Rebels, there's another character who claims the Darksaber, and if you don't know what a Darksaber is, basically, if you have the Darksaber, you can lead. What's it called? The Mandalorian world. I've forgotten the name.
Mandalore. The fuck? Yeah, stupid. But yeah, if you claim that, usually through combat, then you have to. But the whole point of that arc in Rebels and stuff is that the Mandalorians are trying to become more normal, basically, and not do everything through combat. And Bo-Katan actually takes the Darksaber from Sabine Wren without winning it in combat, which is like a big thing for her character, because it's like she's finally accepting that maybe it isn't always the way, you know? The Mandalorian way isn't always the way. And for them to backtrack on that in Mando, I thought was strange, but let's go. You know what I'm saying? Let's see where it goes, I guess. Yeah. I honestly had no idea. like I said, I haven't watched the shows, so to me, I was like,
yeah,
it genuinely just sounds quite interesting, because we haven't seen a Mandalorian versus a Mandalorian yet in The Mandalorian. So
I was gonna say I've seen plenty of that in the other shows, but
yeah,
yes, not
but
in
as
live
in like
action.
a live action, like when you watch, oh, my brain's blanking. I know the actor's name. Oh god, I just ruined my hair by doing that. I know the actor's name. The guy that plays, oh, what's his name? The guy that plays the main villain in Mandalorian. No.
Oh,
Giancarlo
Moff Gideon.
who plays the main.
Giancarlo
Moff Gideon,
Esposito,
that's it. My brain blanked. Esposito, yeah, that was it. Yeah, Moff Gideon. Like, that fight between him and Mando was just incredible. And that entire last episode was 10 out of 10.
It's so honestly cool as well, because if you watch it, you can see. So Mando uses his like Beskar staff, and Moff Gideon's using his Darksaber, and it's really, really cool because neither of them are good at using their weapons. So the whole fight is basically just like, do you know what I'm saying? Like, they're just sort of whacking at each other, but it works. Like, I'm glad they're not both like skilled sword fighters, because neither of them would be.
Yeah, especially when you watch really cool. I don't know if you have, but like the behind the thing, oh god, I can't speak. The behind the scenes,
I haven't yet.
The behind the scenes they did for season 2, it's oh my god, it's so interesting. Like, you watch them do the takes of that fight, and it's just so intriguing to see how they do it. Like the stunt coordination, the fact that basically all that, you know, that entire fight in the corridor, that was a made up set. Like, that wasn't just a CG. Like, that wasn't just CG behind them. Like basically every other environment in shows, that was a genuine made up bit. And I was like, just imagine being an actor on that, doing that. Like, it's just so much
crazy.
Yeah, it's just mad.
Yeah, I love that show, man. I love that show. Like I said, we won't talk too much about Rebels and Clone Wars. I just make references to them here and there when I can, because they're such good shows. And
majorly spoil it.
Yeah, I know. I do drop spoilers in them and stuff, but honestly, just watch it anyway, because the moments that maybe I spoil are worth seeing. And
I want it now. Now I know Darth Maul dies. I'm like, I need to watch these shows. Simple.
there's always little bits of context that I leave out and don't mention. So when you watch it, it's not going to be like, oh, I know this happens. Like I never give, like I will never ever explain an entire really important scene. Like, yeah, okay, I told you how Darth Maul dies, but I haven't told you the context behind it, what's going on, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it's definitely worth watching. Should we just talk about the shows that we're looking forward to, and then we'll move on to the future and games, and then we'll wrap up because this has been really long.
I
thank
can answer this in one word. Actually, no, 2 words. No, 3 words. Every single show. Simple. Literally every single one that got announced. Every single one that got announced, I was like, I'm gonna watch.
I'm looking for what are your top 3? Like for me, I'm looking forward to Ahsoka. I love Ahsoka.
Yeah,
Boba
that's my
Fett,
top 3 as well. And then I'd say Kenobi. Kenobi would be my 3rd.
I was going to say Kenobi as well. Oh,
so we've got the same top 3.
Fantastic. That's brilliant. Kenobi, now that I'm thinking about it, right? Darth Maul could theoretically be in Kenobi somewhere.
It's 10 years after Revenge of the Sith. So when does Darth Maul die in Rebels? How long is that after the...
Darth Maul dies... I don't want to give too much spoilers, but he died at this point. Obi-Wan is on Tatooine watching over Luke, but Luke's still a child, so we're not quite in original territory.
That's
trilogy
really
yet.
far ahead. Jesus.
Yeah, so we could potentially see Darth Maul, but I think the main focus is going to be Vader because we know Hayden Christensen's coming back as Vader, so I think they're really going to go in on that.
I'm like,
Dave, I really like
Vader.
I really like I said earlier, me and my dad were watching episode 3 the other night, and he goes, "Oh man, this guy can't act." I was like, "Oh, like he can." It's just
he can.
He's just not the maybe the best, but I think in episode 3 he steps it up and he's like really good, especially nearer the end.
Very good.
Especially nearer the end when
but
he's
if you're not with me, then you're against me. But only a Sith
like,
deals in absolutes.
Yeah, man, that's an iconic.
That entire fight is just iconic. You know what? You're making me want to go back. You know when this is done, I'm probably going to go watch episode 3 now, just because we've talked about it so much. It just got me in the mood to watch it.
It has to be done, bro. It has to be done. But yeah, man, I'm looking forward to Kenobi a lot. Ahsoka, I'm really looking forward to. I kind of have an inkling as to what that's going to be about. Again, spoilers for Rebels. Skip forward like 5 minutes or something if you don't want spoilers for Rebels.
Right, I just want to quickly mention it. If you say you have an inkling of where it's going, right? It would seem very weird to me if they just did Rebels and Clone Wars but live action. I feel like there's going to be something different, even if you've watched Rebels and you've watched...
Yeah, of course it will be different, but I have a feeling, because it's already, in fact, most people will already know, if you've watched Mando, Ahsoka's saying to the woman, I can't remember the woman's name now, but it's the antagonist for that episode, she's saying, "Where's Admiral Thrawn?" Admiral Thrawn is like a major antagonist from Rebels. He disappears along with a Jedi, a young Jedi. I won't tell you any more about who the young Jedi is and what's going on there. Just go and watch Rebels. It's really good. But yeah, so he disappears with him into hyperspace. No one knows where they are. And this young Jedi has been missing for about, I think in the current timeline, 15 years. And so has Admiral Thrawn. So Ahsoka, I'm pretty sure, will be focusing on finding Thrawn, but also finding this particular Jedi who might actually be important in the Star Wars canon going forward, but I don't know.
I mean, I'm interested. Like, yeah, I think the thing I'm enjoying the most about all of these shows is it's not gonna be like you. How do I word this? You can pick and choose what Star Wars content you want now. Like, yeah, it's not definitely. You have to watch 7, 8, and 9, and like we said, like we hate them. We know Luke. Luke loves Rise of Skywalker for some reason. God knows why. But as in, instead of this,
Luke,
it's
our
not
friends.
Like, yeah, not Luke.
Just to clarify. Yeah.
No, but as in, like, instead of it being like you have to watch 7, 8, or 9, that's it. You don't get a choice in what you want to watch. Whereas now you can watch Ahsoka, you can watch Kenobi, you can watch The Bad Batch, you can watch Boba Fett and the Book of whatever it's called. I can't remember it. but you get a choice of whatever you want to watch now. You can watch one show, you can watch them all. And I'm like, I really like that approach because it lets you want to be what you want as a fan rather than going into a film and being annoyed at what you're watching.
And me and Finton, like we said, we've already recorded this episode before and it went to shit. So we're doing it again, but we're touching on new things. And but one of the things that I touched upon was that when I go to Star Wars, I don't go to Star Wars for the space battles. I think they're cool, but I don't need an entire, for example, like Rogue Squadron, the game made by EA, just came out. I will never play that because I don't particularly care for.
It's not Rogue Squadron. Rogue Squadron is a PS2 game.
Oh, what just came out on EA?
This is the Star Wars Squadrons. Yeah, that's just
Star Wars
Squadrons. Yeah.
Sorry, I'm bad.
Rogue Squadron. Rogue Squadron is the one it's based off, I think. Like it's not like remade or anything, but it's like that's where they got the idea from for the current one was from Rogue Squadron.
That's it. Yeah. Which, like, but that's the thing. Like, everyone goes to Star Wars for different things. I don't personally want to play a game that is all about the space battles. If it's there as an additional bit, cool. If it's a whole game about it, I'm not bothered. Whole movie about it, also not bothered particularly, but I'll still watch it because I love Star Wars. But now, if you go to Star Wars just purely for Jedi, you've got the Kenobi show that's coming out. You've got Ahsoka coming out. I'm sure there will be other shows that come out that focus on different Jedi, introduce new Jedi. Maybe we get a deeper look at the Inquisitors. They would be really cool characters to explore. Stuff like that. If you go to the show for, you just love, maybe you love the space battles, we're getting a Rogue Squad. What's it called? Is it a Rogue Squadron show? Or what's the name of that one?
Let me check quickly. I remember
or
that
like Rogue Fighter or
about
something.
It. Yeah, let me check. Because I remember we spoke about it before.
Yeah, exactly. So we're getting, a wide variety of content,
Rogue Squadron.
Which is great.
Yeah.
Rogue Squadron. That's probably why I got confused earlier. But yeah, so we're getting loads and loads of content, which is great as a Star Wars fan. And like Finton said, you can pick and choose what you want, like, because it's not like the MCU where you got to watch one show to understand the other and piece things together like a puzzle. It's very much like it's its own thing. It fits into the canon. If you want that extra Kenobi story,
there'll be references,
but
it won't be like exactly. There'll be references to like you said in Mando. There's that bit from Rebels where they talk about the person who is, but you don't need to know that to understand the Mandalorian.
Yes, exactly. And I just think it's really exciting. And should we just quickly? Should we just discuss our sort of nerdy fantasy of games, Star Wars games that we're sort of excited for? This is like the biggest thing for me and Finton. We left it to the end because we know that it's more niche. Not as many people necessarily play games. Like me and Finton are big on gaming. So we've left
Star Wars, the Skywalker saga.
That's don't even. Skywalker saga is going to be so cool.
Cannot wait. Like that's one of the original things that got me into Star Wars was the complete saga. So I'm like, I will give anything to play
funnily enough.
that. Yeah, exactly. Like it's that weird thing of like that is kind of what the Lego games are kind of what made my foundation for all different fandoms. Like I played Lego Batman, Lego Star
Wars, Lord of the Rings, Marvel. Basically any Lego game that came out between 2007 to now,
Potter.
I've played. Harry Potter. I already liked Harry Potter, but yeah, that was awesome. Hobbit,
but I never tried the Hobbit or the Lord of the Rings one, but the rest I did try. But I mean, the rest I've finished. Like, oh man, I put loads of hours into some of them.
100% of them, mate. Some of them.
I'm like, I cannot wait to start playing that again, especially when it hasn't. Like, because the Star Wars games that have been coming out, Lego ones, like the Force Awakens and the last year, they've just seemed kind of weird. Like, I don't know why they're.
I didn't play that. Because I remember the Force Awakens game came out, and I was like, why would I pay for this when I know they're going to probably make a like a saga, like a trilogy one for just this one? And then they came out and they were like, we're remaking the original game, putting all the new levels in, as well as the new trilogy. And I was like, okay, I'm down.
And I know it feels like a very long time ago, right? But I'm gonna now bring it up. I read earlier today, Babu Frick is a playable character.
No way. Don't lie.
No, I'm genuinely not. Let me find it. I'm
gonna go back and replay every single level as Babu Frick so that I can go and scream Babu Frick everything. That's what I'm gonna do. You know what I'm saying? That was the best. Oh man, I can't wait for that. I really can't wait. That's how he speaks.
It's that. I don't know why you doing that gets me
And
completely.
he just screams his name at the end of everything, and it's just the best thing about Star Wars at the moment, to be honest. But but yeah, I'm looking forward to Skywalker Saga, man. By the way, just called it. It's a Lego game. If you hadn't got that so far, it's a Lego Star Wars game. Yes, we are 18 years of age. Yes, we are still excited for it.
It's backwards, but Lego Star Wars: The Skywalker Saga includes over 300 playable characters, including Babu Frick.
Can't even read that, but that's fire. Oh yeah, there we go.
There we go. Bottom bit.
That is brilliant.
Babu Frick.
That is brilliant. I can't wait for that.
I cannot wait.
I'm. Let's just talk about the. It's not rumored, it's confirmed, but we don't have any clue about what sort of game it's going to be yet. The Ubisoft
Star Wars game.
Star Wars game. Yeah, sure, the more mature ones. The Ubisoft Star Wars game that's come in. I'm excited for it. I like Ubisoft games, but there's a little caveat with this one that I'm a bit like on, and it's being made by, I believe, Ubisoft. I think the studio is called Massive, who made the
Division.
Yeah, and
if they do a live service Star Wars game, I'm just gonna not play it. Simple as.
I will, because I'm an idiot, but I will be very disappointed.
I'm much more of like a Fallen Order type of person. I'm like I will want to play a game in its its own contained thing. I'd rather not.
Fallen Order
have to
is
keep
a masterpiece in my opinion.
Fallen
Maybe not a
Order's
masterpiece
incredible.
actually. It's
I'd
really
say solid
cool.
8 out of 10. 8 out of 10 at least.
Yeah, 8 out of 10. I'd say it's not 9, 10 territory, but it's definitely an 8.
There's meant to be a new KOTOR game as well.
It's rumored that there's a new KOTOR game, but we don't know whether that is a remake, a remaster, a definitive edition with all the games bundled in. We just don't know.
I hate KOTOR. Not for the game.
Oh shit.
Right.
Okay.
Not for the game at all.
Damn.
For the fan base, right? Right. This game has been out for a long enough time, so I don't particularly care spoiling this. But Darth Revan, the fact that everyone's like, you're not a real Star Wars fan if you don't know who Darth Revan is. Darth Revan is just you. That's the whole point of the game. Like, you literally find out halfway through your Darth. He's basically meant to be one of the strongest Sith ever, but basically the whole point of KOTOR is. Sorry, yeah. But KOTOR basically goes. It basically goes, oh yeah, it's all good. KOTOR basically goes, oh yeah, you're going to play as a Jedi. Then you find out like 3/4 of the way through, you're going to be a Jedi chasing Darth Revan. Then you find out 3/4 of the way through, you're Darth Revan. And then everyone that played KOTOR far enough to understand who Darth Revan was, it's like, oh yeah, you're not a real Star Wars fan if you don't know who Darth Revan is. I'm like, shut the It genuinely makes me so annoyed because I'm like, just let Star Wars fan be whoever you want to. Like, this is what, like saying earlier, this is why I like the fact that people now have a choice. They can be as much of a fan as they want to be. Because I really hate fan bases that are like, oh, you're not a true fan unless you know this. You're not a true fan unless you know that. Like, just play it or watch it or like do whatever you read. Just as long as you're a fan, that's all that matters. Like,
if you read the books and like comics, fair play, because I don't have the time, but that is cool. Like, I respect you for that.
I tried doing it. I get kind of confused because I miss. But the issue with modern day comics, especially because it's now owned by Marvel, is they do spend a lot of time echoing back to previous comics. So it's really difficult to get into as a new fan. So you miss loads of references. Like, I've tried and I'm just like, I don't really get it. So I just was like, I'll stick to my Amazing Spider-Man comics because I know everything about them.
I haven't even tried, but I'm sure one day when I've got more time, I will. But at the moment, we're busy uni students that also do YouTube, so it's hard. But especially during the current situation, like it's all long. But I'm really looking forward to seeing what the Ubisoft game is. I personally believe it's going to be the Division 3, but with Star Wars on it, which I will not buy, to be honest.
To see, it would very much depend on how live service it would be, because I feel like if it's going to be a Division 3, then it's going to be you're playing as somebody that's a shooter. Like you're going to be a character with a gun rather than with a lightsaber. So that kind of interests me. But it depends how live service it's going to be for me to debate whether I'd actually get it or not.
Couple ideas that I would respect them for doing and sticking with. Either we play as the Empire from the original trilogy, or like just any let's say the Empire, and they stick with it. They don't do a Battlefront 2 where you play as the Empire for 5 minutes and then you become
5 seconds. Yeah. 2 missions in, you're now a rebel.
And
great.
I want it to be at the peak of the Empire as well, like when the Empire is the most powerful and the rebellion is like just being crushed, and just every mission is you going into, not every mission is this, but like, because it's going to be open world. I'm pretty sure they've confirmed that it's open world. So imagine like,
see, that also worries me as well.
No, I think that, listen, this could be really cool. Like a third person Far Cry type game with a tight story, but a big open world that actually goes from, so let's not make it too big, but let's say you've got 3 or 4 different planets, each with a pretty large environment that you can explore. So like big cities, or maybe we go to Tatooine and you've got lots of different areas there with like camps of rebels that you have to actively try and find. So usually in Ubisoft games, the way it goes is like, here's the map. Oh, there's a camp. I'm going to go there, kill everybody, take what I can. Instead, you'd have to do recon work as the Empire to discover where these camps were. You'd have to plan an attack strategy, almost like make it a little bit Rainbow Six Siege, where there's like elements of tactics being involved, because one thing that Star Wars is really bad at is making stormtroopers scary. Let's make stormtroopers scary again. Let's make them an actual threat. Like, let's see when you shoot someone with a laser gun, the bullet hole go through them and like burn them and stuff like that. That would be really, really cool. Or if the idea of playing as the Empire doesn't appeal to you, focus on Mandalorians. Let us play as Mandalorian, third-person action game. You get the steady progression of being a Mandalorian. So, you get your like rocket wrist and your jetpack later on in the game, and the jetpack could open up loads of different traversal. You get a wide arsenal of weapons. I think that would be really cool. In fact, I'd rather have the Mandalorian game, and it could focus on what's really cool is the Mandalorian game could focus on the prequel trilogy and be set between like episode 2 and 3, and you're a Mandalorian bounty hunter going on bounty hunting missions. Think Prey. Think original Prey 2 before it got cancelled, but Star Wars.
I would play that. Honestly,
I would play that.
The thing is, right, especially like as soon as you mention open world, the thing that I've now become extremely cautious about is another cyberpunk situation, which is why I'm just which is why I'm always like, give me a Ghost of Tsushima style world, like size world, rather than a cyberpunk size world, because Ghost of Tsushima size world, like there is still loads to do in that, but it's big, but it's so diverse. Yeah, exactly. Like it's definitely smaller than most open worlds, but it's so much in it that it works perfectly.
Still big though. Whereas it's still a big world with lots to look at, and a really interesting navigation system which lends itself to the world really well. Yeah, like Cyberpunk tried to do that, but he tried to scale up both, like put loads of stuff in it, plus put a massive store, like put loads of stuff in a massive. They tried to do a GTA scenario, but on a much bigger scale with the amount of interaction you could have, and it failed. It just did, which is why I'm always like, don't do that Star Wars. I'm just thinking of more possibilities that they could do, right? And I had actually like maybe incorporate elements of Hitman in there. So let's say you've got your open world, right? I personally don't love these Hitman games. Like, I'm not a big Hitman player. I'm not good at them, but elements of Hitman could be cool. I love the Hitman games. I've never played them, but just watch. I just love the fact it's like a Groundhog Day thing. Okay. Where it's like, where it's like you go in once, you instantaneously die. You go in again, you learn what this enemy does, you know how to avoid them, then you learn how to get past the next one and the next one and the next one, and then you finally work out how to actually kill the person. Like, that to me is the ultimate sense of like, that'd be cool. You work it out yourself. Like, it's like any stealth game. Imagine that, but in an open world scenario, right? For me, I imagine this game set across like multiple cities on different worlds.
Like a
So, for
Fallen
example,
Order
you
kind
could
of
have
thing, where you're on different planets and stuff.
yes, but with wide open environments. So, if you played,
I
like
know
for
what you mean.
example, the most recent Assassin's Creed games, we know
Valhalla.
Ubisoft Studios are capable. We know they're capable of doing this because you've got England, which is huge. You've got Norway, which is a pretty sizable chunk of map. You've got Vinland, which is also massive, and there's a lot of ground there to cover. You've got Asgard, which is big, and Jotunheim. So there's 5 different maps in that game. Too much. it's pretty ridiculous. But let's say 3 different planets, all with diverse, really cool open worlds. Each one could pose different environmental challenges. So going back to the Hitman stuff, maybe the Hitman style detection system and trying to blend in and stuff only happens when you're on Coruscant, because that's a big city planet. People are more aware. Crime is more regular over there. And so when you want to go and take out your target, you've got to maybe your target's in like a bar. You've got to find your way into the bar in a covert way.
I just want more
but still
AI
all in an open world setting.
That I like Hitman AI. Because if you heard, I haven't played Hitman 3, but if you heard what they've done in, I don't know if it's been in 1 and 2, but it's definitely relevant in 3. You know, if you're not wearing the right disguise, like say you're dressed up as a police officer, the other police officers will recognize that you're not the usual member of staff. Like that is just incredible. I want that kind of really AI in every game. I want it to make me think. Like it makes me actually have to think about killing people.
I've played the original, not the original, but like the Hitman, the first new Hitman of this trilogy, and I wasn't very good at it. I deleted it after about 2 hours because I was shit. But that AI system is cool because it does make you actively think about it. So let's say you are a Mandalorian, you couldn't just go everywhere in your Mandalorian armor. I do want the ability to like just tank every mission. That would be really cool because you're Mandalorian, like, play into that power fantasy. But let's say you do want to go in stealthier, you should have the ability to like swap out clothes, or maybe let's say your target is in like a club, right? Again, I'm sticking with the Coruscant setting for this. Let's say your target's in a club and you just want to go through the main entrance and there's a bouncer there, an alien bouncer. Maybe you could talk to the bouncer and you find out, oh, I don't speak this guy's language. So then maybe there's an item somewhere in the world that you can buy that is like a universal translator. Then you go back to him later on and he can understand you now and you can understand him and you can talk your way in. Or maybe if your charisma level is high enough, or if you've got enough money, you can pay the bouncer off and tell him to look the other way. Or maybe you just kill the bouncer and you just walk in.
Oh, okay. Because I just pay off the doorman. I'll just be like, fine, screw it. I don't care how much money it costs. I can't be bothered to kill you.
Yeah, but
it's too much
that's
effort to kill you.
Like, it would be really cool to have that variety. And if Ubisoft Massive pull it off, I'll eat my words. But I'm just not confident that we'll get the Star Wars game that we want. But let's hope for the best.
I think if they're going to pull it off, what year? It'll be 2021. I have a feeling it will be like 2024 at the earliest. If they're going to pull it off right, I feel like it's going to take a long time.
I mean, I don't even know if it's in. I think it's in pre-production at the moment. So
I think it's in pre-production as well.
Anything. We're just speculating on things that we would like to see, and but what we do know is that this is probably going to be one of the last things we talk about. So thank you. You stuck all this way in.
Yeah, I was going to say it's been a long episode, man.
It's been long. I'm going to love editing this, but
you're going to be screwed.
If you have played Fallen Order, you know how good it is. And Fallen Order 2 was greenlit ages ago. We know that that's coming. Very much.
I think it actually got greenlit after they saw the amount of pre-orders, because that's what they did with Spider-Man PS4. Is they saw how many people pre-ordered Spider-Man PS4, and then the day Spider-Man PS4 launched, they told the actor who plays Miles Morales, for the life of me I can't remember his name, but they told him on the day of the Spider-Man launch party that Miles Morales was going to be made.
That's crazy. That's wild. But
this is what I mean. I read way too much. I don't. Why do I like this information is not valuable to me, and yet somehow
why
I
do you know that? That's so random, but I'm glad you didn't know that.
I read so much news, man. It's a joke.
But well, good. Lisa will be happy with you. But
shall we end this here, because we've been going on a long time?
Yeah, we can do. I just wanted to say that I'm excited for that, and I'm excited to see what they do with Fallen Order 2. I think that'd be really, really interesting. And I
hit
hope
the
Cal
formula
Kestis gets expanded
perfectly
upon.
in that first, especially with Cameron Monaghan doing it. Like I love everything. Like he's
awesome.
He's just incredible. Joker, Cal Kestis, just.
Final question before we end, for you and anybody who's got this far.
Yeah.
You can have any developer create a Star Wars game. Who do you choose and why?
Naughty Dog.
Why?
Because they get the traversal down perfectly. They get the world building down incredibly. They immensely improved on their combat skills, especially in The Last of Us Part 2. Uncharted 4 is still incredible for its combat skills. And you see the traversal stuff. Like this is why I think it's so good. In Uncharted 4, you see what they can do with traversal. And then in Last of Us Part 2, you see what they can do with weapons. And like when you don't have any of that and you do just have to try and kill everybody in the most normal way possible. So I'm like, that in a Star Wars setting could be incredible. They'll never do it because they don't need to, because like Uncharted and The Last of Us are just, they sell enough anyway. They don't need an already pre-made IP. They can make one themselves, but it would be awesome.
Well, that's the thing with Naughty Dog though, is the trend usually is Naughty Dog make, for example, the original Crash trilogy, they did that, and then they moved on. They did Jak and Daxter, then they moved on. It's actually quite weird that they stuck with Uncharted and The Last of Us for so long now. So I'm guessing that the next game that Naughty Dog actually put out will probably be a new IP.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Isn't it? They won't do like a Star Wars or a Marvel. They'll make their own because they're just so good at it.
Yeah, definitely. But I think most developers, if you get offered, do you want to do a Star Wars game? They go, yeah. So
if they got offered, I feel like that would never happen because they'd be like, oh, we're working on our own thing anyway. Like they'll probably get the job offer, but they'd be like, no, we're working on a game already. Because Naughty Dog never stop. It's mad. Like literally, they're already. I wouldn't be surprised if in the next couple of months we hear that Last of Us Part 2 is coming out as a remaster for PS5.
Oh yeah,
they did it with the original.
For sure.
So that's probably what they're working on now, and then they'll go straight into a new IP. They're probably working on that IP now. Like it will just be, I don't know. Naughty Dog is my favorite developer ever. They're just so good.
I do like Naughty Dog. For me, I want to see Sucker Punch Studios make a Star Wars game with the Ghost of Sucker Punch are the ones. Sucker Punch are the ones that made Ghost of Tsushima and Underlooked. And I didn't even think of this until just now. What's it called, man? The one with the powers. You know what?
That narrows it down. The one with the powers.
What's it called? He can absorb the different powers like earth and light and stuff.
Let me Google. I honestly have no idea what you're on about.
The PS Plus collection.
That now. Infamous Second Son.
Infamous, that's it. They made Infamous. So you might not understand how Infamous correlates to Star Wars. Force powers. They have a good grasp on how to make things that you shoot out of your hand feel kinetic and like you're doing it. And they could do a lot with, especially on the PS5.
DualSense. Yeah, I was about to say with the DualSense, that would be incredible.
With DualSense. Maybe if you hold the trigger down for longer, you do a more powerful force push. Maybe if you quickly tap it like repeatedly, but softly, you like flick them up into the air. They could do loads with that. And on top of that, they've got their incredible Ghost of Tsushima style combat, which could easily be translated to
beautiful combat,
lightsaber combat.
I
think they would be perfect for a Star Wars game.
Both of those ideas sounded like if they ever happen, then I am buying the deluxe collector's edition, whatever the Christ the most expensive version of that one is.
I don't know about that.
Like the way I see it is like if I'm into something enough, it's like I wanted to support the people that made it the most. That's my logic, which is why.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, I'm always just like I will pay. I don't know. It's weird. I'm always just like I will say for something I'm really into.
£70. That will be a £70 game. Remember, because it will be next gen. So
yeah.
If it ever does get made, I think 70 quid is more than enough from my wallet. But you do you. Shall we wrap it up, I guess?
Yeah.
It's been a very
2 hours later.
long episode.
It is actually 2:00. We've been going 2 hours.
I know, it's mad. But yeah, thank you to everyone who's watched this far. Thank you if you only watched like 15 minutes.
I doubt there are many of you.
Yeah, there's probably like 2 of you. But yeah, thank you all so much. This is a long one because obviously, like we said, last episode didn't pan out. So you've got an extra chunky one today. Thank you for coming. Please leave a like, subscribe, share the podcast if you can. That would be really lovely. Messages, let us know what you thought.
The coolest thing you could do. Just try and reach new people.
Yeah, it really would be. Absolutely. But yeah, messages, let us know what you thought. Our socials will be up at the end somewhere. So
we now have also, I don't know,
us on there.
Have we said this since we've done it on the podcast? That we now have an Instagram. I don't know if we've mentioned that on the podcast yet. We did it on the one division.
We have.
I don't know if we have.
But yeah,
we now have an Uncut Show Insta.
Yeah, exactly. We've got an Uncut Show official Instagram. That will be in the description too. Lots of cool stuff. But yeah, just let us know what you thought. Leave comments. Like we said, share and like and subscribe if you can. Thank you all very much. We'll see you next time.
Goodbye.
Bye.